We did.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the regular meeting of the East Lyme Board of Selectmen. Today is September 18th. We have had our Pledge of Allegiance to the flag with the start of the town meeting. Any additional agenda or consent calendar items?
No.
I don't believe we have any. Then the next item on the agenda tonight would be for delegations. Those people from the public who wishes to speak on any subject to the board. You had 3 hands go up almost simultaneously, so whichever one you would like to go first, please. And if you'd be so kind as to state your name and address so that Darlene can keep track.
My name is Barbara Wingardner. I live at 95 Walnut Hill Road. I'd like to address some concerns regarding the solar field, which is being constructed in our backyard to the east, in our side yard to the south, and our other side yard to the north. The Connecticut Siting Council, I realize, is supposedly in charge of all of this, but we have some concerns that aren't being met. We've called the Siting Council. One of the guys was going to come down and meet with us the next day, and he never showed up. We haven't had our phone calls returned, and we're turning to you for your help. The town should have some say, some control on what's going on here. The initial plan that was presented in March has undergone so many changes that even when we go out to the site, which is on the other side of our stone wall, the left hand doesn't seem to know what the right hand is doing. I'll give you a few examples of that. And neighbors have so far not gotten any answers. Although solar power is advertised to be quiet, clean, and cheap, I would ask, by whose definition? The neighbors are suffering right now from noise, dirt, and earth-shaking rumbles. Dishes in my cabinets rattle from 7 a.m. until 6 p.m. at night, and on Saturday from 7 to 3. The Tinker House farmhouse has been allowed to rot and has become a blight in our neighborhood. Loam is being carted away by the truckful. Ancient stone walls have been obliterated. It's too late. Just big piles of stones now over in the side. And hundreds, if not thousands, of trees are gone. Our concerns are with our property values, our wells, and our peace of mind. Who would want to buy our house? Regarding our well, we have so much more sediment in our sediment filter that we had AquaSource, who's the service company that comes out and services our well. We were told to change our filter every 2 weeks. We used to change it 3 times a year. They came out, and when you usually invert your filter and it just slides out and you put the new one in, he had to use a tool to dig it out because the sediment that was in there was so thick that it wouldn't come out. So they're coming back next week, and they're going to test our water for its potability, for bacteria and so forth. So we're certainly concerned about that. The GRE petition number 314 of the Connecticut Siting Council that is dated May 16th has a lot of promises and a lot of changes that have taken place. They promise us a 6-foot-high stockade fence on the west side. The west side of this project is where we all live. There are probably 7 of us that go right up to the edge. Our stone walls or our property lines border or abut this project. So the rest of the other 3 sides apparently are going to be chain link, and we're supposed to have a stockade fence with some planting. Well, we were talking to the guys. I mean, they're a nice group of engineers. We're talking to the guys. They're saying, oh, no, they changed their mind on the fence. We went, what? Now we're going to look at the panels. So we called the Siting Council. We were told, oh, no, they're going to have a fence. So it's one person says yes, there's a fence. The next one says no, and then somebody else says yes. So we're not too sure about that. There was supposed to be a building that would serve as an office, a maintenance shed, and an educational facility. And I'm sure that's how they sold it, talking about, we'll bring kids up here and we'll teach them all about the solar power and how wonderful it is. Well, that's been discarded, and they're no longer building that. The construction roads that were on the plans through the Tinker House and the Ader property they're not using, and they've been coming in through Grassy Hill Road. I think someone else is going to address that issue. They donated 22 acres, the developer, 4 or 5 years ago, when it was going to be 50 houses, then 20, now 8, I guess. They donated 22 acres of land to the land trust with an easement through this land that's being developed. I'm sure that with that kind of a donation, they probably haven't paid a penny in taxes to our town for 4 or 5 years. Another item in this petition was that they would be wood chipping the trees to lessen the number of trucks leaving the site. This has not been done. Huge trucks come in at 6:30 in the morning. They're moving van-sized trucks with no tops. They take the trees that have been ripped out of the ground and they dump them into these trucks, and those trucks go back and forth all day long, starting at 6:30 in the morning. Tom and I are the ones that live right there. Our land kind of sticks right out into the project. So I would say that we're probably most impacted by it, but everybody's impacted that lives there. They're not wood chipping, they're carting them away. In some ways, for us, that's a blessing, because that's one less thing that we hear, because they have rollers out there that rumble and make our walls shake. The noise is unbelievable. There are several things that are impacted. I'm not going to talk about all of them, but number 75, herbicides will not be used except to eliminate weeds. I want to know who's going to decide what kind of herbicides. Our well on the site map has this imaginary 75-foot ring around it, which everybody who has a well has that. And I called the Ledge Light Health District, and they said within that 75 feet there should be no source of pollution within that ring. Well, our ring of that 75 feet extends into the solar field. So when they start using herbicides, are they going to tell me ahead of time that they're doing it, that they could be possibly polluting my well? Number 77, everybody kind of laughs at this, is the endangered species. They sent out some Yukon students with butterfly nets last summer, walking around the field out there before it was excavated at all, looking for a certain kind of butterfly, looking for a certain type of vegetation. And then in this petition, they noted that very likely the silver-haired bat and the red bat, that the trees out there are the type that would be the homes for these bats. And so in number 77 of the petition, it said, we will restrict the tree clearing from March to November to prevent the direct loss of habitat to individual bats that could be present. Well, March to November. This has all taken place from July to now and continues. And number 81 addressed noise from the inverters. The inverters are these things that are going to be placed alongside the solar panels at various intervals, and I don't know a lot about electricity, but it's going to convert the type of power that's coming in from the solar panels, convert it so it can go into the power poles and down into the grid. There is noise from them. We don't know how much. So they say in this petition, the GRE would examine installing inverters in a more central location within the solar field rather than on the west side, where we all live, to reduce any possible noise issues to adjacent properties. Well, the latest plans that I saw still has the inverters right next to our house. And then the various other things they talk about, visibility and planting trees along the side of the stockade fence. I've read a lot about solar fields that have been put in other states, and the people, one of the big complaints is that they plant these trees and they're all dead because they don't take care of them, so they don't grow. And so, I just want to know what kind of recourse that we have in something like this. And then 95 in the petitionette says we would examine increasing the setback to the abutting properties, but as far as I can see, that has not been done. Another issue is the fire safety during and after construction. Now, I spoke to the fire marshal here, and he says that he has worked very closely with the developers, but he couldn't answer some of the questions. Questions remain about care being taken to educate firefighters about fires involving electrical equipment. Will there be a permanent workforce, Or will the neighbors, like us, be expected to report a grass fire or other emergency? Will transformers on site be equipped with non-toxic cooling oil that is biodegradable and contain no PCBs or similar toxic compounds? Who will monitor the major electrical equipment and inverters? Will there be routine patrols during fire season and carrying fire extinguishers and communication equipment so that they can call the fire department? Are the panels made in China? China has a lack of safety controls on silicone-based materials, and a new report from the Silicon Valley Toxic Coalition predicts a major disaster due to poor regulation and planning in both the production of the panels and the disposals of the panel at the end of their shelf life. China bypasses both safety and environmental standards. Lastly, I have a feeling, that this is a little bit like talking about the horse, closing the farm door after the horse is already out. However, when the politicians from Hartford come down and pat themselves on the back about we've done this wonderful thing, I don't think the people on Walnut Hill or Grassy Hill are going to be applauding. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
My name is Thomas S. Wingardner. I'm Barbara's bigger half.
Good evening, sir.
I don't know if you've ever heard the term bare naked on a rock at low tide, but that's exactly the way that we feel. We've been in this town about 10 years, and for a good portion of it, we've been down here trying to talk to you people to try and protect the nature of the neighborhood in North Lyme. It's farmland, it's woodslands. It's not a corporate park. This project destroys the nature of our community. But what is even worse, as Barbara said, not only do they put it there, but they put it right up on your property line, right up to your rock wall. And I think that in the spirit of the Constitution, that no government or individual has a right to encroach on property owners to this extent. And I think that you are elected officials. You work for us. You serve at our pleasure. And this project is sitting in North Lyme. It's in my backyard. I'm a resident of this town, and you let me down. You didn't protect me. You didn't look after my best interests or my neighbors. And we have this absolutely horrible project going in our backyard. Untested technology, untested maintenance, promises from the people that are going to improve the Tinker House. Looks the same to me. Promises that are unkept and no respect for any of us. We have called the town. The town says talk to the state. We have done our research and we have found the siting group. I've called them. We'll be over tomorrow afternoon. They never showed or called. There is, what I would think that we want is someone from this town. These are your people. We pay taxes to this town. I'm not sure I'm going to anymore, but we pay taxes to this town. Who in this town is going to look after us? Or do we just form our own group and take care of ourselves? No. That's not why we have government. That's the whole reason you're here and the whole reason that we're here. We want someone from the siting committee to be responsible and accountable to us to answer questions. And thirdly, we want somebody for the construction team to give us honest answers. I'll give you an example. When the project started, there were, sorry?
No.
When the
I
project
shifted
started,
my
about
knee.
40 feet out past our well line was a strip of tape, sticks with tape on it. That was the edge of the project. A surveyor comes up, and I walk out and say hi to him. And by the way, there isn't a person working on this project who isn't truly nice and a pleasure to deal with and will bend over backwards to help you. They just don't know what's going on. That's the problem. So he comes up and surveys, and now all the ribbons are right along our rock wall. And I said, well, what's that? They said, they're clearing everything right up to your wall. I said, that was never on the plan. Who said to do that? The town. The town told us to clear it and to plant trees there. Who? Who told them that? And now I look at the new plans, right up to the wall, everything gone, and trees planted. It's not that they're not cooperating, but nobody knows what's going on. And we're trusting these people with a very dangerous technology, and the town is just that, well, it's a state, they've got this council and they took the land and really nothing that we have to do with it. That's ridiculous. We need some leadership to step up on this thing and support the citizens involved. I had the pleasure of spending a year in Vietnam and lost several of my friends and suffered from some diseases from Agent Orange being sprayed all over me, and I intentionally go out the end, and I'm right about to go there. So I think I'll end it with that. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
I'm Robert Hadima, 41 Grassy Hill Road, East Lyme. I'm the adjoining property owner that owns the farm on the north side of this property. My Aunt May owns this property where the solar panels are going on. Know the property well, milk cows there, did a lot of work there. Well, the first problem I had was with John Lombardi trespassing on my property, wheeling these big trucks around, and he couldn't make the turn, so we decided to move a boulder and remove a 12-inch cherry tree off my property. I've got pictures to back it up. I had to hire a lawyer, a surveyor, and these are the trucks that are taking the mulch out. They're also mudding the roads for a week. The police and the town trucks have been down there every day for a week trying to get them to get the mud off the road. They delivered 1.5 inch stone. The tailgate jarred open, and they spread stone from the plant all the way up to the project. John is a loose cannon. He said, if you don't like me trespassing on your property, take me to court, is what he told me. So we'll move on. We won't. I already won that battle, so we'll move on. Let's see. I went downstairs to get some copies of the maps of the solar farms and the houses to be put on the solar panel farm and the GH development. The new maps were there, but no one would show them to me for some reason or other. They were denying me my right to know. Of course, this is hearsay, and it really doesn't amount to much, but I would think it's pretty sad when the town is more worried about the developer than the health and welfare of the East Lyme taxpayer. There should be an investigation by an unbiased party on who is putting the illegal pressure on the town hall employees in the commissions, so we can find out what really going around in this town there. They seem to be scared of their jobs. I don't know what it is, but they seem to be helping the developer more than the taxpayer. After the study, whoever's found guilty of pressuring these people should be fired immediately. I also went to the fire department and asked them what training they had on solar panels. Absolutely nothing. They're, if they go to a house that's got a solar panel on it, they can't put water on it because they got it electrocuted if they shoot water on a house that's got solar panels. So why anybody would want to go solar panels on a house is ridiculous. They let the house burn to the ground. Also found out that the East Lyme High School has got solar panels. There's also problems with that. You got inverters that change your DC of the solar panels to AC, and this causes a radio frequency electromagnetic radiation, which causes hyperactivity in kids, and they call it ADHD in high school children. It also causes headaches and a restlessness. The inverter wires are antennas that send this radio frequency electric magnetic radiation from the inverter hundreds of feet away. So where these inverters are, it's putting out unhealthy rays that are making children sick. There's 3 pages on that. Solar panels are a ticking time bomb. There's over 50 cancer-causing toxins to build a solar panel. The South Jersey just had 5 football fields of solar panels burned on a meat processing plant, covered 3 square miles of people's homes where this solar ash landed on the homes. 44 fire departments answered the call. Not one department put water on the fire because they would get electrocuted. They sat there and watched the whole plant burn to the ground. So somewhere along the line, this solar panel deal is a joke. Chinese solar panels, 1 in 5 fail. They when they get rained on, they leak toxins on the ground, and it's not a very safe environment. When they pull these solar panels off in 20, 25 years, there's so many toxins in the ground that you can't possibly grow anything there. Nothing will grow, and it's poisonous, causes cancer, and you're putting this in a residential area where these toxins get into people's well water, and youth will die first, and then the adults, because the youth doesn't have the resources that the older people have to fight off. So I think you're letting a cancer-causing thing happen here, and I think it's going to end up being a disaster. They told me they are Chinese panels. I wouldn't trust anything from China. For toys, they were selling us, the kids, the dust your fingers for fingerprints, and the powder they used was asbestos. They also use a lot of lead paint. So someone should have done their homework, and I agree with Tom that someone's not looking out for our better interest. And I've also called the siting council 3-4 times, and they send me just some pictures back that the problem was cured, and it wasn't. I basically had it cured myself by hiring a lawyer for what Mr. Lombardi was doing, rubbing it in my face and says, "You don't like it, take me to court." I don't know what the country's coming to. I think it was a big mistake to put solar panels on a high school. In 35 acres, they knocked all them trees down. The trees were nature's lightning rods to protect the homes up there. Now we're on top of a hill. Pigeon Hill is the highest in that area, and it gets bombarded by lightning. So it's going to hit these solar panels. When I attended the meeting, they denied that solar panels get any damage from lightning. Well, I read an article, 121 solar panels got blown up by one strike of lightning. So Mr. Ladino doesn't know what he's talking about. And should have wrote some other things down, but there's other cases where solar panels are a disaster. You're going to put, when they're done, they're going to try to put houses on this property with toxins in the ground. The water runs down to the small streams, goes into Cranberry Brook. From Cranberry Brook, it ends up in Latimers into the Niantic River. And that's what we're dealing with here. These solar panels go through. It's going to take years. Maybe it'll be sooner, maybe it'll be later. And also, hailstones destroy solar panels. And what was it, about a month ago, we had 2-inch hailstones coming down in Montville. Lucky they were slushy and soft. But if they were the hard hailstones, they would have wiped them panels right out. And there was another farce thing. They made a statement. There's 16 things that destroy solar panels, and erosion's one. They get racked, and they definitely leak from the rain. They're going to wash them down with the water from the wells on there, and I fear for pollution of the brooks and the residents that are nearby. If their wells get polluted, what are we going to do if they start coming down with cancer? It's a pretty big bucket of worms. I think the